Why is this doing this to me? Hello, everyone. Welcome to She Knows Arsenal. This is your live player ratings for Arsenal 4, Luton 3. Guys, give me just 1 second. I don't know why this is not doing what I want it to do. Super annoyed right now. Anyways, we won the game. We won the game when it didn't look possible. It did not look possible at all. I'm actually just going to pull some of this stuff up anyway. It did not look possible. It looked like we were cooked. You guys, it was, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. You guys get into the chat and let me know what you guys are thinking because listen, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I mean, we won and it was like the most insane game. Like it just, I cannot believe it happened just like that. Let me see if I can just, it's not going to let me do what I need it to do. This is so annoying. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm really rattled right now because I'm just like, what's going on? Oh. Anyways, sorry, you guys, get into the chat and let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling while I just get my stuff together really quickly. I don't know why. Where's my full layout? I don't understand. Why is it doing this to me? I'm having such a bad day. Whatever. It's just going to have to be, who cares? Anyways, welcome. This is your player ratings for Arsenal 4, Luton 3. Declan Rice seals the 3 points at the death. And it looked like it was going to be a terrible, terrible day for Gooners, but we end up pulling it out of a hat all the time. We are literally the team that knows how to score in the dying seconds of the game. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't our best performance. A lot of individual errors. We'll get into that. But this is why you spend 100 million on somebody. This is why you spend 100 million on Declan Rice. Because, listen, he may not have the same, aesthetics or as other players, but when it comes down to it, he never gave up. He kept winning the ball back. He kept pushing us up the pitch. And at the dying moments, he got us the 3 points. Good performances, bad performances. Some people hang your head in shame because if we had not won this game, you were getting cooked. Raya, we're still going to cook you, Raya, okay? But stuff of champions. I mean, it is prime Barclays for Arsenal to go to Luton Town, a place that they haven't won like since the 1800s, and almost give them a point and to snatch it back at the death. I have never seen a team be able to take life from people like that. There we go. We finally got our lives together, guys. We finally got our lives together. But yeah, I am so rattled right now because it's just like, I can't believe what just happened. I cannot believe what just happened. I just am like, listen. Well, obviously there's going to be a lot of negativity. We're going to get through the negative stuff. We're going to be like, obviously some players are going to get hammered. We'll do that. I'll hold that, whatever. But listen. When you're not playing your best and you're about to go down and you need a goal, somebody needs to step up and get that for you. Declan Rice did that for us today. Kai Havertz also stepped up today. They were the 2 best players on the pitch for me besides Bukayo Saka. And it wasn't even close. Pushing us up the pitch, getting us into goal scoring positions, not letting Luton think that they're good. We did our freaking best to make Luton feel like a legitimate side. We did our best. They had 7 touches in our box and scored 3 goals. We did our best to make Luton Town look like a decent side. I mean, there has to be some hard conversations in that locker room because listen, Declan Rice doesn't score that goal. The title credentials, I mean, are we still title contenders? Like, do we have the mentality? You guys, like, we've scored the most goals off of other teams' errors, but we also have the most individual errors leading to goals this season. What? What? How is that possible that we've pretty much come right back to type? Right back to type. I am so conflicted. I am so conflicted because I am so happy that we won this game. And I'm just like, I didn't even really get to enjoy the moment because I was running down to try to set up this stream. But my goodness, do we have to make it so hard? Look, I was okay with the Wolves game because I was like, listen, they didn't have any chances. They didn't do anything. We dominated the game. We did what we needed to do. But today, we wanted to lose so bad. And Declan said, not on my watch. Now, John P says, I was impressed with Luton. I was as well. I think with the resources that they have and the things that they can do in a game in order to disrupt a team like Arsenal, they did those things perfectly. Win the first ball, win the second ball, score on set pieces, things like that. They were definitely doing everything they possibly could to beat us. They were not poor. They weren't. They're not a good side, but they were like Rob Edwards was squeezing all the juice out of that team on today. He was, So I don't think that they were awful, but again, they had 7 touches in our box. Like they literally had nothing unless we gave it to them. Terrible defending on the first one. Terrible coming out to claim for Raya on the second one. Absolutely should get to the third one. There's just no reason for us to be giving them 3 goals like that. It is just typical freaking Arsenal to do this shit. Typical Arsenal. But the difference between Arsenal teams of the past and Arsenal teams now is that we do not give up, and we are very good at stealing points from the jaws of like life. Like we are so good at that. So for me, I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm trying to figure out what just happened, but I'm not going to forget how I felt for those first 95 minutes. I was furious, absolutely furious, because it wasn't that we were playing terribly. Whenever we built up, we got into their box easily. If we had just calmed down, we would have gotten to their box a lot more. There was so much space in behind. We could have bopped it around them a little bit more. I thought we played right into their hands, trying to play long balls and win the first and win the second. Thought we could have just played our football a little bit. But when we wanted to get into their box, we could. But it was just Arsenal being freaking Arsenal. My goodness. I'm drained. I'm drained. I am drained. Crow T says, doesn't Man City have games like this though? Where they give away crap goals, but Rodri or someone comes up with a winner late on? Absolutely. Here's the thing, is that people will pretend like we did not just watch Liverpool almost bottle 3 points against Fulham like a couple of days ago at home. So every team has games like this, but they have to be few and far between. And what my issue is not necessarily that we concede goals sometimes to shitty teams. My concern is that they're almost always self-inflicted. We have the most individual errors leading to goals in the Premier League right now. And I'm sure we were really high on that list last season. So if you're going to get scored against, let it be a worldie. Let it be a well-worked goal. Let them have to work for it. Don't just give it to them, And so I think to me, in the last 2 games, we've given away 3 goals. Zinchenko against Wolves, Raya, 3 goals. And that's just not good enough. So it's not really so much that like nobody else does this. We just watched the Premier League like the last couple of weeks. We've seen almost everybody gets into games like this. It's not like it never happens. But I mean, Liverpool drew to Luton. We know that these things happen. But Arsenal, if they could just stop kicking themselves like the meme right behind themselves, like it's Arsenal beating Arsenal, we'd make our lives so much easier. I think we easily beat them if we don't have brain farts every 5 freaking seconds, And so, yeah, Luton made it difficult for us. They worked really hard. They were physical. I think, listen, letting Ross Barkley scores first goal in the Premier League since he's been at Chelsea. That is only a stat that Arsenal will freaking have. He had a man of the match performance against Martin Odegaard, Declan Rice, and Kai Havertz. Shocking. And like I think Rice and Kai Havertz had a good game. I think Odegaard had a poor game, right? Or a poorish game by his standards, right? When we really started attacking, he was much better, But I thought when the game was being contested, he lost his way quite a bit. Not a great performance from the captain. But everybody has games like this. We still, again, I feel like it's more individual things than teams being able to cut through us or anything like that. Again, they had 7 touches in our box. But listen, you have to have players in your team that are willing to step up when shit is going left. And I thought Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Saka really did that today. You guys will let me know who else you thought, if you thought anybody else really stepped up. But I thought those 3, they were like, I'm not losing, okay? Like, hello? Saksham says this was very similar to Bournemouth last year. Adoni says it's about when it counts. Olu says Odegaard had a good game. It was one of those ones where it's like he wasn't awful, but he definitely wasn't amazing either. And I thought, again, when the game was contested, when it was like 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, that's when I felt like, or not even 3-3, 1-1 and 2-2. I thought for me, that's when Luton decided like they want to go for it and try to get a goal. That's when he was losing his way because he was losing his duels. He wasn't really getting on the ball and moving us forward like Kai and Rice were. So again, it's by Odegaard standards. Like Odegaard standards are very high. And so I expect much more from him when the game is being contested. Of course, when we're just going for it, right? And they're sitting back in their box, he's going to be totally dominant and be able to pick passes and things like that. But when the game is at an even state, I need my captain to be the one forging us forward. Now, it can't always be Odegaard. Sometimes it won't be him. Today, it was Declan Rice and Kai. But, it just has to be said that I don't, personally, for me, that wasn't a great Odegaard game. It was poor-ish by his standards. But that's why you have other players step up, Let's see. Anton Dunn says, I never want to see Odegaard drop so deep because he serves very little purpose. He can't carry the ball and just passes it back some more. Very imbalanced midfield today is why. We liked him coming deeper against Wolves, but he was much deeper today and receiving the ball very deep. And, like you said, he's not really be able to like break lines and, from progressing it from his carries and things like that. So I agree. I think we didn't really find the balance today. Here to There says Odegaard was okay, just average today. Let's just be honest, today is really on Raya. It is. He definitely, I don't think he was culpable for the first one. I think Jesus does a poor job marking, but the last 2, 100% were on him. Abi says, come on, hit the likes. Please hit the likes. Ben says the small pitch had a lot to do with our lack of control. There was no room out there. When Odegaard hit that one pass, like it was like in the first half and it went out, like it was like a really nice, well-hit pass. I was like, out in the Emirates, like that is in space for Saka. And so I think we spent some time trying to adjust to that. We tried to go more direct. We lost some duels in there, but all in all, like, I don't think we were bad. Does that make sense? Like, when we were playing, and I don't think we were bad. We had a lot of possession. We created chances. I don't think we were bad. I think the individual errors are what's starting to creep back in. And I'm just like, listen, we need to stop giving away these individual errors. Like Raya cannot have games like he had today, like at Anfield, at the Etihad. Like if he has games like he had today, we're getting smashed. Like he has to concentrate. Like Ross Barkley's shot is like a simple fucking shot that he should be getting. Like, what is he doing? Why is it going underneath you? And so, of course, I'm going to keep that same energy. I'm not going to sit here and try to like make excuses. Like he literally was an enemy of progress today, and he had to me, it was like the similar level of like how Ramsdale kind of was against Brentford, where it was like, are you trying to give this game away for us? The thing is that Raya got punished badly for his mistakes. And so, yeah, not a good day for him at all. And the goalkeeper conversation rages on, rages on, rages on, rages on, rages on, rages on. Even they were speaking about it as well. Like, they're speaking about it as well on my commentary. They were like, oh, well, we get to restart that goalkeeper conversation again. And I just thought to myself, like, oh my God, fuck off. Like, I just want it done. Like, and here's where I am with the goalkeeper situation anyway. You guys know, I don't think Ramsdale is the guy. I'm trying to figure out whether or not Raya is the guy. Right now, he's making too many errors for me to feel like 100% confident, but I still feel like he needs more time, so definitely going to kill him today. But, here's where we are. Here's where we are. Jason says, Ross Barkley had the best game of his life. It never ceases to freaking Arsenal, if you want to have like the game of your freaking life, you'll have it against Arsenal. Like, the amount of midfielders that come out with like the best game of their life against us, for me, like really pisses me off. Ross Barkley did not need to be trying to show out for Chelsea. They don't care about you, bro. But he was definitely out there like, I'm going to put my Chelsea boots on out there and like really do a job for my team, my Chelsea Blues. Like, he was getting on my nerves so badly, but we allowed him. We allowed him to do that. Yo-Yo says that felt like an FA Cup match. Mdu says Raya needs time, started slowly against Brentford as well. Tawanda says 40 years is a really long time. It is. Crispy says the goalkeeping situation is actually looking terrible. I'm worried. Aman says, for me, there's no point fans screaming for Ramsdale back. Even if Raya doesn't work, we simply need to buy a new goalkeeper. Ramsdale is finished, in my opinion. I agree with that as well. Like, I'm beyond the Ramsdale thing. Like, I know some people will be like, well, Ramsdale needs to come back in. But, I don't really think that this game is like a win for Ramsdale. I think it's a loss for everybody, because if we don't have a legitimate number one goalkeeper that we feel like can drive us to the title, we're in trouble. And Arsenal have already like made this big proclamation that they want to make Raya permanent. He really needs to step into this position if we're going to make him permanent, because the games are going to get harder and more stressful than this. If you can't go away from home to Luton and give a good account of yourself, you are effed when you get to the Etihad and Anfield. Shit, you might even get messed up at Villa Park, so you need to get your shit together for real. Only as the day says Arsenal don't have enough players, can't play Saka the whole 45 minutes. Maybe there was a little bit of fatigue there. I think a lot of I see people saying our defense was poor. Again, you guys, they had seven touches in our box. Like, it really wasn't a game where they weren't battering us. They didn't have very many chances. They scored off of two, they scored off of two corners, and they had one other chance. Like, it wasn't really, to me, like defending. It was really two horrendous individual errors from Raya. Like, if he claims that and he saves that, they only get one goal, because they didn't really have any other chances. Do you see what I'm saying? So I think sometimes it's like, if you concede 3 goals, it's like your whole defense was bad. I don't think they were. Luton didn't offer very much. We fucked it on the corners. Like, it was so bad. James Bond says, I don't know what this, I don't know. Thank you so much for your super chat. Says, I'm not even going to try to say this, y'all. Because I feel like I'm saying something that's not right. But thank you so much for your super chat. I put it up on the screen. Hopefully, we're not in, hopefully I'm not in trouble or anything for putting that up. AFC Max, thank you so much for your super chat as well. Says, Jess is a proud mom. Midfield 3, superb. I'm proud of the team. Like, oh damn, was it bad? D'Angelo says, James, calm down. Okay, I shouldn't have put that up there. Ooh, rookie mistake. CE says, defensively, we weren't bad. This was on Raya. I feel really like I did something so bad right then. Charlie says, Trossard 2 back-to-back stinkers. I'm sorry. I thought he was really good against Wolves. I think he didn't score the goal that he needed to score against Wolves. I think the whole conversation around his performance against Wolves is so different if he scores that goal. He doesn't, but I'm not quite sure why people think he played poorly against Wolves, but I don't think he didn't make the best out of his cameo today. I thought he just, I need him to, like, when he gets on the byline, just hit it. Our players have like this desperation to like mess around with the ball. Like, how about you just put it on the 6? How about that? So I don't think Trossard was horrendous, but I don't think it was his best cameo. There's 361 of you guys in here. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. Tawanda says Trossard made a difference today. It's so funny because everybody has a different opinion. This is probably the first time that we've done one of these shows post-match, and I'm seeing so many conflicting, some people are saying Odegaard was really poor. Some people are saying Odegaard was really good. Some people are saying Trossard was horrible. Some people are saying Trossard is good. Some people are saying the defense was awful. Some people are saying it was just Raya. So I think a lot of times when we go through these instant reactions, they can end up feeling very emotional, like emotionally driven. And then when we step back and think about it, things come to light a little bit better. But that the game is the game. The game is the game. When you're doing an instant reaction, it's your literal instant reaction to a game. My other instant reaction is that I didn't think Ben White was really good today. He was definitely the weak link. Every time they did something, they went down that side. Both corners were on his side, I think, and the goal came from his side as well. So get up to speed, because if Tommy is going to be out or we're not, you know what I mean? Like, Ben White just needs to get back up to speed. He wasn't that great today, I think. Dale says, I think we cannot ignore that we might have a player in Havertz. We're not ignoring it, Dale. We're not ignoring it, Dale. I'm getting there. I'm trying to get like a lot more like the negative stuff out of the way so we can talk about how Kai cooked today, okay? I love that performance from Kai. We're going to get into it. Don't worry. I don't think we scored the first 3 goals. The first 2, he drug the defenders to the near post. Martinelli open, Jesus open. He was really good today. And he's growing in confidence. And the good thing about Havertz that you couldn't have had against Luton today with Trossard is that he won a lot of first and second balls, like where I thought some of our players were a little hesitant to like get onto those bobbly balls and all that kind of bobbly balls. Get onto some of the get onto some of those like second balls. He was running through them. He was getting them. He was making his presence known. And so having somebody that's like physical, fast, tall, strong, all those things in midfield really helped us today, because otherwise we would have been in trouble, so really good performance from him. He got the goal as well. What is that? 3 and 4 or something like that for Kai. We're starting to cook. Okay. And we need that. We really do. Here to there says Kiwior was okay, attended to his defensive responsibilities. I don't think that Kiwior will look back on this game and feel like he earns a spot for the next. He'll probably still get it because we're going to play against PSV away, I think, right? Or am I making that up? Or what do we have? Is it Aston Villa at the weekend? Hold on. Yeah, I think so. It's Aston Villa at the weekend and then PSV. Let's see. Let's look at our schedule. I should have this like memorized, but no. Let's see. Yeah, but Kiwior's performance for me was left a little bit to be desired. So yeah, we have Villa. He won't play against Villa. He didn't do enough. And I don't think even if he had a good performance, if we have the opportunity to bring Tomiyasu back in, Tomiyasu is going to play. Okay? So Aston Villa, and then maybe he'll play against PSV. But I'm not trying to be harsh with Kiwior. I think Kiwior is a great player, and I think his cameos before this were a lot better. And so when the lights are shining bright, you got to make it count. And I don't think he made it count, in a Premier League match, But he wasn't terrible, if that makes sense. Again, I don't think we were terrible outside of the defending on the corners and Raya, It was a difficult game where there was a lot of contention, a lot of, first, second balls, physical battle, all that kind of stuff. But I think for the most part, we did a really good job making sure that we didn't get run over, didn't get overawed by the physicality of the game, came back every single time that they scored, we scored. And I think if we had just not made those mistakes, we would have won that pretty easily. So yeah, Ronnie says, Raya ain't the problem. Ben White, poor marking. Ben White back pedals every time an opponent comes at him. Raya isn't to be blamed. He really should have done a lot better on the Ross Barkley goal. Seeing it back, it's like that is what I would get onto Ramsdale about. If it's on target, it's in the back of the net. Should do much better there. Allison saves that. Most goalkeepers save that. Shit, maybe Leno even saves that, so he has to do better there. On the second one, just too weak, and I think Declan Rice also doesn't do the best in that circumstance, but that is kind of like the frailty of having a goalkeeper that's like 5'9", is when you have big towering players like that, if your players don't get up and contest them properly, they have basically like a big ass net to hit. And so it was a rough day out for him. I really don't think there's any way to talk around the Raya thing. I do think that he was pretty culpable. Anton Dunn says Kai was just okay for me. No real star quality in his touch and passing ability. He was fantastic. Not sure what game you watched. Darker says man of the match, Gabriel Jesus, without a doubt. Raya. Gabriel Jesus, how do you guys feel about his performance? I felt like I was disappointed by, in some points of the game, I didn't feel like he was winning his duels, and then he would come back and start winning them again. And then when we really started ramping things up, I thought he was really good. So he scored the goal. He had like a mixed kind of like performance for me, but like a mixed good one, if that makes sense. Like beyond Saka, Kai, and Rice, I thought he was like the next best player, if that makes sense. So let's see. Clement says Havertz and Jesus need to be up front in a 2. Your boy Odegaard wasn't good at all. Benny Blanco was also poor tonight as Ross Barkley took him to the cleaners. Yeah, for me, that was an amazing Odegaard performance. But again, some people are saying that Odegaard was really good. So, it's all about opinions, isn't it? Amon says Jesus was amazing. He was getting fired up from the Luton fans and the constant fouls on him. The reason why Jesus doesn't get those calls that any other striker would have gotten is because I do think they view the way that he goes down as theatrical, and so he doesn't get them. Quite similarly to like why Gabriel Magalhaes, like I think that's why they didn't call the foul on against Joe Linton, is because he goes down quite a bit to try to like get fouls, and then so they kind of like in an environment like that, they're going to go, no, you're the boy who cried wolf. I'm not going to give you those. And so I do think like he probably won a lot more fouls today than he was given. But, that's kind of what you get with Gabriel Jesus. He's going to do a little bit of the theatrics to try to get us the fouls and stuff like that. Sometimes he should just kind of get the ball and play, you know what I mean? But I think he did a lot of good today. I thought he did a lot of good today. Jacob says Jesus was man of the match, goal and assist. It's crazy because it's like almost like I forgot the first goal, y'all. I forgot the first goal. That first goal, I was like, oh, look at us. Like I didn't love the way that we started the game. I thought it was really contested and we didn't really get like a good grip on our possession. But I loved that when that ball went out, when the Luton player passed it back to the goalkeeper and he didn't get to it and kicked it out for a throw in. That is really good play from Gabriel Jesus to get over there, throw it in, and then it goes to Martinelli and then boom, we score a goal. That's really, really good. It's such a shame that we conceded 4 minutes after because I didn't really get a chance to like enjoy the fact that we were like super switched on because we conceded right after. But I thought that goal was really good. And I thought our second goal was really well worked. Ben White with the assist, Gabriel Jesus getting up, getting the header, really good. Kai Havertz goal, I thought also was really good. Just him crashing the box, anticipating, blah, blah, blah. And then Declan freaking Rice coming up with the goods to save Arsenal. Let's go. Seawater says the commentators made it sound like Odegaard had a good game. Very intrigued to rewatch this one. I am going to rewatch it. Sometimes you do have to rewatch with fresh eyes. And so my initial feeling was that I didn't love his performance the way that I like, I think a lot of times when players are not as good as we think, we say that they were horrendous. I don't think Odegaard had like a horrendous game. Like, I don't think it was like Chelsea away. It wasn't anything like that. It was nowhere near that performance, but it definitely wasn't like a sparkly performance from him. Now, I kind of blacked out towards the end because we were just doing attacks on attacks on attacks. And I was so nervous and my stomach was hurting so much that I was just like, that last like 20 minutes, I don't really remember a lot of it. But I think that is where Odegaard really started to come to life. But again, that was when the game was less contested and Luton kind of started sitting back a lot more. That's when Odegaard's going to do well in advanced positions, picking out passes when he's not under as much pressure. But Again, at 1-1 and 2-2, I thought Odegaard was not really as involved as he could have been, so it was a mixed game. For me, it was a mixed game. John P says, I thought Saka was also Saka was really good today. From minute one, I felt he wanted to make the most out of his 200th game for Arsenal, and he did end up getting assist, I think, right? On one of the goals. Saka is just our most consistent player. And he just shows up. Like they really he was doing like even like some fullbacky stuff to like help Ben White as well on that side. Like I thought he was really, really good and wouldn't have deserved to be on the losing side, So I really enjoyed Saka's performance. Again, Saka, Rice, Kai, and then maybe Jesus after that. Everybody else, excuse me, that was not good enough. Also, Martinelli, I thought was just okay. He scored the goal, but I think maybe that like initial injury got the best of him because I didn't see him winning as many duels as I felt like he should have been, because we know how he is. He's like a little terrier biting at your heels. He's winning second balls. He's doing all that stuff. But I thought after that, he kind of slowed down. He did score the goal, but it wasn't Martinelli's best game, but I feel like it's because, he got kneed in the back, so that sucks. Ocampo says Saliba was average today. He's been his form has dipped over the last couple of games. He wasn't particularly great against Lens. He wasn't particularly great against Wolves either. And then he also was not great today. So players go through veins of form. We don't know if he's carrying any sort of injuries, anything like that. So I'm trying to keep that in the back of my mind as well. But no, he wasn't great today. It was kind of like his lowest level of performance, which wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like peak Saliba, Aman says, damn, Arteta suspended for the Villa game, Jess. Listen, we knew that he was going to get suspended for a game that really mattered. And so I thought that they were going to try to hold it until Anfield, but it's Villa Park. We knew it was coming. It's funny that they couldn't have done it against Wolves at home. They were like, no, we're going to do it in a game that we feel like it's going to cost you. But the boys just have to get it done. There's just because Arteta's not on the sideline does not mean, in fact, it should galvanize them to get the 3 points for Mikel Arteta, because he really stood up for them in that Newcastle game and really took a bullet for the team. And I think they need to get the lick back for him. So yeah, I knew that it was going to happen in a game that really mattered. It was never going to be like Wolves at home or anything like that. They're like, what could we do to mess them up? So whatever. Let's see. Jordan Hill says, why did Arteta get a yellow? Was it because he got the yellow, or is it because they finally got him for the ban? Is it the suspended, or did he get a yellow, his third yellow? You guys clear that up for me, because I thought that this was because of the Newcastle situation. So is it the Newcastle situation, or at the end of the game did he get a yellow? And and why? Saksham says Saka has gone to an elite level, producing or scoring goals every game. He's so good. Okay, so not for the Newcastle match. So yeah, he just got a silly yellow at the end. Damn, was he yelling at somebody? What was going on? Again, I blacked out on the last 20. Yo-Yo says they were touch tight to our wingers particularly, and even Gabriel Jesus got kicked from behind. Luton weren't effing around. Yeah, I mean, I think when you can't play with the team, what's the first thing that they say? It's kick them around. It's not really like an interesting tactic. It's not really anything that we haven't seen before since the dawn of time. Basically, since, we got to the Emirates, the ploy has always been kick them, kick them. If you kick them, that's it. And even like Tim Howard was saying, like, I want to see Luton, like, get in and amongst them. They don't like the physical battle. I actually don't think we don't like the physical battle. I think some of our players are more, they're more physical and athletic, and they can deal with the physical battle a lot better. But I don't think Arsenal, you guys see this? This always happens every time I stream. You guys see this? This is crazy. But I don't think Arsenal hate the physical battle. I don't think, we're shying away from tackles or things like that. I do think we like a little bit of dark arts. I think we like to roll around a little bit, waste time, try to get fouls. But I don't look at Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus and Kai and Rice and our back line and say, yeah, man, we're about to get bullied today. That's really not what I see ever, Exactly. Jacob says Gabriel relishes a battle. I really do think like this whole, they don't like a physical battle is really from like the ye olden days, like this team will get stuck in and shit, you know. Schizo says, considering the small ground, I'm just glad we won and got the hell out of there. Let them come to the Emirates and you'll see the real match in a bigger stadium. I'll have to take that in consideration. We're playing more games than Luton. You know, this group of players has played a couple of games in a row as well. So yeah, there's quite a bit there that I feel like goes into why we probably weren't like as good as we could have been. Again, I don't actually think we performed like horrendously. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it was like one of those games where we couldn't pass to each other. We were so, bad on the ball. Pass accuracy was bad. I don't think it was even that. I just think we were so bad in our own box and got punished for it worse than I've ever seen, you know? That's for me, that's more what it was than anything. High Grow says the commentary team were dying for Luton to get a result. Cry more haters. Listen, the joy that I felt when Declan scored that goal, because they were just like, Luton will be waking up tomorrow morning, gasp because they're happy because they got a point against this team, and Arsenal are gonna have to wait another year or so to get this result. I'm not gonna lie, I was flipping them off, man. I was doing the, because I was just like, listen, you guys were talking a whole bunch of mess the entire game. MD Agency says Martinelli creates space for Jesus. Nostradamus says, really looking forward to the Villa game. I think we'll be better against Villa. I think it's a normal stadium. They'll be open. We'll be open. It's going to be one of those. They're definitely going to try to hit us on the counter. Unai Emery, whatever. But they have to play against Manchester City tomorrow and then play against us. So, I thought against Bournemouth, they looked leggy. They look like those European matches were catching up to them a little bit. And so let's see how they deal with playing against Manchester City at home and then playing against us. Whether or not that takes a toll on their squad, and, whether or not, like, I do think we're going to come up against a team they're not going to be well rested, like a team that's not playing in Europe. They're definitely going to be a little weathered as well. So it's going to be a tough game. Arsenal are going to have to defend a lot better than they did today. But equally, like, we've seen us defend much better against good sides, so I'm not like, oh my gosh, we're so bad defensively now. Like, it's not that. Raya needs to pull his pants up. He needs to look himself in the mirror and say, listen, I'm at Arsenal now. This shit does not fly. You can't be at Luton doing what you did today. Okay, get it all the way together. Like, just like I was saying that he should have slapped Zinchenko on Saturday, I'm saying everybody should be slapping the hell out of Raya, because that was just like, absolutely not. Yeah, so let's see what else you guys are saying. Anton Dunn says, I would arrest everyone for PSV. Okay, like, there should not be a single first teamer out there against PSV. Play the kids, play the kids, play the kids. Bap Gunner says Ramsdale should have played. Played when? He played against Brentford and he was horrendous. Listen, like, the only reason why Ramsdale didn't totally F us against Brentford is because our team covered for him. So let's not sit here and act like Ramsdale is any better than Raya. We're in a situation now where Raya really needs to start showing that he's better than Ramsdale, but Ramsdale does not need to be back between the sticks for Arsenal. In every single game that he's played since he's been dropped, he's been shaky, so no, he shouldn't have played today. I don't think, I just think Raya needs to get his shit together or get out. John P says Luton better go into the City game at the weekend with the same energy. They won't. John, they will not. Okay, so they probably were like, okay, we're going to go up against Arsenal. They used all their energy because they thought that they would get something out of it, and they will go into the City game and absolutely roll over. So don't expect Luton to come out there and do anything against City, okay? The Arsenal Misfit says Raya gets one. He's not good enough. Every time we're put under pressure, he folds like a cheap suit. Wayne says Thierry said he should have saved the Barkley goal with his foot rather than diving. He should have saved that. Like, that's just unacceptable for him not to get to that ball. The guy says Ramsdale only made mistakes versus Brentford because of Arteta. How would you feel if you're dropped from your job for a donkey? So what? So you don't have, like, here's the thing. It's like, Ramsdale he's a professional, and it's not the first time that anybody's been dropped before. And so I question the mentality of somebody that's in a position where they've just seen that Raya's not playing as well. And every single time that they come in, they put in an equally as bad performance. That just shows that Ramsdale's mentality is not that good either. So I don't think that Ramsdale, like, we should be like, oh my God, Ramsdale, he got dropped. Oh my gosh, like, he's a professional, you guys. Like, he should have the mentality that like, oh, Raya's not doing good. Let me go out here and have a good performance. And he hasn't done it in not any of the games that he stepped into. So this woe is me, I got dropped thing, like for me is just, especially when you had a whole season uncontested with Matt Turner as your backup and you still were making a lot of individual errors. Every single chance was on goal was a goal. Like, you know what I mean? So this is not a Ramsdale win at all. People need to let that go. Like, and I'm definitely not doing it today. Manib says, they did the same against Liverpool. Jess, don't be disrespectful towards Luton. I am still backing Villa and Sheffield tomorrow night. They won't do anything against City. That's just how I feel. Sue Walder says both Raya and Ramsdale have 1,000-watt spotlights on them. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, where were you guys when Ramsdale did what he did against Brentford? Now you guys are all in my chat talking about, oh my God, see, like Ramsdale has not been good on period. And if he was good, he wouldn't have been dropped. He wasn't just dropped for no freaking reason, you guys. Clement says, I agree with Jess that the kids should play against PSV in the final group stage game. I would start Cedric, El Neni, Jorginho, Vieira, Nketiah, and Nelson in that game. And on that, there's 400 of you guys in here, which is freaking amazing. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we're going to go ahead and do the player ratings now. So go ahead and get into the chat and let me know what you guys are thinking. And again, I feel like it's weird that people are saying I'm totally biased towards Raya because I just said that he was totally shit. So no, I'm not even making excuses for him, but I'm definitely not about to sit here and say Ramsdale should be playing when he totally almost did the same things against Brentford. Like, let's be totally serious, right? So Raya, I don't know what to tell you, brother. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, honestly, pull your pants up. Like, please stand up. Because today's performance was just, why? Like, why didn't you get any of those balls? Like, I didn't get it. You know, like the second one, it's just like, listen, I get that you're shorter, but you need to claim that. Like, you really do. And then the Barkley one is the one that's totally unforgivable for me. So I don't even know. It's like 3. Like, you know, it's like, it was so bad. Like, it really was. And so he's going to have some horrible night's sleep because, listen, I know it's a short ride back from Luton back to North London, but I wouldn't talk to him. I wouldn't be talking to him. Listen, I would not be talking to him on this bus. Like, I would not be talking about him. I would not be talking to him on this bus. He could not speak to me today after that performance, okay? Let's see. Errol Graham says Raya 1 point. Drew Maga says, I'm confused because he got a clean sheet. Okay, so he got a clean sheet. Ramsdale did not get a clean sheet against Brentford because he was good. He got a clean sheet against Brentford because Declan Rice saved his ass twice. Like, it wasn't just like there was 2 different instances. So let's not go back in time. Anybody that's caping for Ramsdale, do that. I'm like, no. The Arsenal perspective says Raya 4. Ocampo says 3 out of 10. It's literally like a 3. Like, you know, Michael says Raya is a 4. Or no, sorry. Raya is a 3 tonight. Igro says a 3. Clement says Raya 2. What says 2. Yeah, it was really bad today. Omelette says 2. Here to there says 2 for Raya. We are in deep, deep trouble. Clement says Raya 1. Samful says negative 100. Ocampo says he was told your shit. Don't know what that means. He was told your shit. Okay. Nostradamus says Raya 1. It's crazy how bad it was. Johnny says 3 out of 10. We won. Manib says Raya 3. Those 2 errors could have costed us. Give half your wages to Kai and Rice. Listen, I wouldn't be talking to him. I wouldn't be looking at him. I wouldn't be doing nothing. Okay. Because I'm just like, you just can't be making mistakes like that. You just really cannot. Saliba, not his best game. We've already kind of spoken about it, but it was just one of those where it was like, you know, I need you to, you know, be stronger back there. Like the performance that we saw against Holland, I need you to be able to do that against the scrubs of Luton. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what happened today. It wasn't horrendous, but it definitely was not good. So I'm going to give him a 6. I think this is another game where I felt like Gabriel was actually better than him. So, oh damn, y'all got him low. The Arsenal perspective says Saliba 5. Nostradamus says 3. Trini Gunner says Saliba 5. Y'all got him way low. Omer says Saliba 5. Omelet says 5. Andrew says Saliba 4. Okay, yeah, those are really low, you guys. I don't think an average performance is like a 4. Like what for the people that feel like it's real low like that, like a 4. What did he do in the game that would warrant that? Or what did he not do in the game that warrants that? Because again, they had 7 touches in our box. 7. They had nothing. They did nothing. They put us under very little threat. The only threat that they got was when they came up on Ben White's side. He gave away 2 corners. Those 2 corners ended in goals. I don't know if Saliba should have done better on those. I don't think he should have. I don't think he was involved. And I don't understand how David Raya giving away that last goal has anything to do with Saliba as well. So I'm confused. If they didn't, they did nothing. We gave it to them. Listen, but I mean, we also have to remember that like when you defend corners, like all of that stuff is orchestrated. So, Saliba, it's not just like, oh, you should have won the header. If you're not nowhere near it, and the actual person that should have won the header was on that second one, Declan Rice probably should do better. He's the one that's marking the striker, and that striker is the one who scores that second goal. On the one that, Ben White kind of got done over there by Ross Barkley, and then they shoot and it goes in the. How is that on Saliba, you guys? Like, be so freaking for real right now. I really don't think it was. If you're going to just give the entire defense a 4 because we conceded 3 goals, that is not the goal of player ratings. We're talking about ratings individually for the players. So I don't think you can just give, if Raya makes 2 here's the thing, you guys don't keep the same energy either, because we conceded a goal against Wolves and nobody was taking away points from Saliba and Gabriel's performance because Zinchenko made a mistake. So why are we not keeping that same energy? And I get that, like, okay, it's corners, but again, these are orchestrated. If Saliba and Gabriel have their men, but Gabriel Jesus doesn't mark his, and Declan doesn't do good enough, and Raya doesn't claim the cross, then how can you blame Saliba and Gabriel for that? I'm sorry. Like, if we're just going to go, okay, you conceded goals, so the entire defense gets a 4, then whenever we don't score goals, I don't want to see anybody get anything. When we get shut out against Newcastle, I don't want to see any attacker, no matter what their performance was like, get more than a 3. We know that that's not how football goes, right, you guys? So I don't think Saliba was that bad. I think that it was an average game for him. Arnolito says 6. Manib says Saliba standard 5.56. Nostradamus says he got megged and done twice. Don't remember that. Fortis says we conceded 3 goals, Saliba 5. Yeah, the entire defense conceded 5 goals. The Arsenal perspective says the average is middle of the way, hence my 5 score. I think it was more like a 6/5. The 4s feel a little forced just based on the fact that like we conceded 3 goals, but like really those were like, again, the stat that came out about Arsenal conceding goals on individual errors was because both of those goals that we conceded, the second and third one, were from individual errors. So again, Zinchenko, you guys gave him 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever you guys gave him because he made a mistake, but y'all weren't taking points away from Saliba and Gabriel then. So keep that energy. Gabriel, I thought he was better than Saliba today. Again, I think Gabriel is in better form than Saliba right now. I think that's maybe 3 games now where Saliba has been kind of like on the average side of his performances, where Gabriel has been better. So I'm going to give him like a 6.5. It wasn't, again, 7 touches in our box, didn't really do much. He did his job, but like, what can you do? Omer says Gabriel is a 6. Michael says Gabriel 6.5. Andrew says 5.5 for Gabriel. Richard says Gabriel 7. Charlie says 7. Blaze says, I think people judge differently players, at least our defenders, rather than strikers and midfielders. I just think that like when you're doing player ratings, it's really difficult to just be like, well, we conceded 3 goals, so everybody in the back needs to just get a bad score. I just feel like that defeats the purpose of trying to figure out who had a good game and who didn't. And when we said that the entire game, like all those goals were on Raya, and we all kind of agreed at the beginning of the show that it was individual errors, I don't really understand why Saliba and Gabriel are getting bad scores then, you know? That's what doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, Muhammad says Raya has to do better. Nocturnal Gunner says 7. Here to there says Big Gabby solid 7.5. The thing is, like, you can have a good game and everybody else shit the bed, and you still deserve your good score. You know, you showed up. Ben White, I thought he struggled a little bit. I'll be so honest with you. I don't think he was terrible. I just don't think that was like, he doesn't look up to the fitness level right now. I think that's mostly what I felt like when I first started watching like Ben White when he was running. I just kind of thought, he's a little off it. And that kind of makes sense because he's coming back off of a little bit of an injury layoff. But you must do better against Ross Barkley. You cannot be the guy that gets cooked by Ross Barkley and allows him to score his first goal in the Premier League since he was at Chelsea. You cannot be that guy. It's just unacceptable. But he gets an assist as well, which I feel like people are forgetting. I think going forward, he was much better than probably defensively. And I did kind of find myself wanting to bring on Tommy in some capacity. Tommy was not there, but I was just like, yeah, I feel like I wanted Tommy, you know, but Ben White, not an amazing game, nothing really, you know, but he got the assist. So why do people call me every single time I'm doing a stream? It's really ridiculous. I'm interested to see what you guys say. But I think it's his defensive side was kind of so poor that even the assist is kind of like, you know, so I'm going to give him a 5, I think. That might be a little harsh. It might feel a little harsh. Johnny says Ben White 4 out of 10. He overlapped well. Astra Dooley says we forced our goal difference up at least. Cool Hand says White 4. Seawalder says if Luton get points versus City at the weekend, does it change our view? Not really. I think maybe, you know, it'll make us feel better about what we did. But I also think that like when you have the most goals conceded from individual errors, no matter what happens against Luton in terms of like other teams that we're competing against, the story is still that Arsenal tend to kill themselves more than the opposition. And so that's just something that we know has killed us off in the back end of last season. And so I don't think anybody will feel good just because Man City potentially drops points to them. I think we'll still be thinking about the individual errors, you know? Manib says Ben White had a good assist, though. I would give him a 6.5. 3. Crispy says 4. John P says 7. Ben White put in a shift. You could tell he was struggling, but he was overlapping in the 90th minute. First game back. It is his first game back. So we have to take that into consideration. You what says 5.5. So yeah, maybe I'll give him a little bit more than that. Like I think you guys make some good points. You know, I think maybe a 6 is probably better. He did get the assist when we were trying to push. He was doing a good job. It's just, you know, defensively, he kind of left me a little bit like, oof, you know, that wasn't great. Let's talk about Kiwior. Again, he put in some really good performances prior to this. One of them being against Lens. You know, he's come in and had some decent cameos, but I don't think he was at his best today. I thought, you know, he seemed a little bit weak, you know, physically. Like every time that one of the Luton players touched him, he kind of like went down or folded over. He had some decent passing, but it was mostly just like passing it to Martinelli in the same kind of like pattern that we had been doing the entire half. Like it really wasn't anything to write home about. Like he didn't really get like cooked or anything like that defensively, but I did kind of feel like I wanted to see a little bit more on the ball from him. But it's hard when you don't get a lot of playing time. I guess it's difficult to be like, decide whether you want to express yourself at a difficult away ground when maybe your team isn't playing at the best of their abilities, or try to keep it safe. But I even thought with him keeping it safe, he just didn't do that much. So I'm going to give him like a 6. Like, I don't know. It wasn't awful, but it just wasn't, you know, when you are like, you've been asking for this player to get a chance in like a Premier League game when it really matters, and then they put in a performance like that. That's not terrible, but you also know that it's not going to do anything to like further their claim for more minutes I think we'll be hoping on Tomiyasu, being fit, because Kiwior, it wasn't amazing. It really wasn't. It was just all right. Dale says Kiwior 4, a bit cruel, maybe because I have high hopes. Ocampo says he has no momentum due to high competition. 5 out of 10, average, very average. Yeah. Arnolito says 6. He barely plays, so I don't know. It's tough because it's like he doesn't really play. So, do you go out there and you start trying to like do everything you've ever thought about doing on the pitch, or do you kind of keep it simple? He kept it simple for the most part, but I just felt like they were kind of knocking him off the ball. He wasn't really, it was just average. Clement says Kiwior 5. Chola says 6. He should have gotten closer to Barkley. Otherwise, that goal would have gone in. John says same goal conceded as Liverpool. What's the improvement? I don't know what's happening here. What are we talking about? Nostradamus says Luton have 9 points so far this season, 5 points from a possible 21 home games so far, the second lowest scores in the Premier League before today. I mean, again, Luton didn't do anything. They did as much as they could do through their capacity, using their, using their crowd, using the environment, using their physicality, and they just got 2 chances really on corners and took advantage of those. And they're not a good side. Watching them play, I didn't think like, ooh, any of these players are great. I didn't think that. I thought they were very average players that would probably go down to the championship, but when you give them an inch, they'll take it, and we allowed them to take that inch. Ocampo says the drop off for the bench players is a concern. We seem to lose fluidity and bite when we replace a first teamer. Not always. I think, Trossard steps up well. Tomiyasu steps up well. Because remember, he wasn't really even a starter. I don't think in some circumstances Jorginho does well, others not. But I don't necessarily feel like today was a drop off from the first team type of conversation. Again, this whole thing is really poor marking in the box and, Raya getting done. It really, I'm having a hard time connecting with the like, oh, this is because our first teamers are really good and people on our bench are not as good. Let's see. Somebody is saying Fabrizio Romano tweet. Is it bad? I don't really want to see anything. If I go and look and there's nothing there, I'm ending the stream. You guys know my rules. Arteta on Tommy injury. We had a scan and it's not good news. Unfortunately, he's got an injury in his calf and is going to be out for a while. Fudge. Wow. Everybody was saying he was just going to be fine. It wasn't a big deal. He's out. F. The Arsenal perspective says, I'm just hoping we can keep him for the Asia Cup now. I'm so like that just, I'm done. How are we going to go to Anfield and Villa Park without our shutdown defender? What are we about to do? Giant Tesco says Tommy goes to the Asia Cup in a month. Charlie says Tommy needs to get in that back end of the season, guys. Relax. Dale says Tommy, no time to fall back on. We are top of the league. Wahoo. But again, like we're definitely going to need to. I think this is, we don't need a defender. We do need a defender. Tommy is out now. Timber is not going to be back for a while. Our options are really thin. If we get one more injury, we're toast, you guys. Like, we're an injury away from putting Rice at center back. Like, we need a defender. It sucks going into the January period. with players that just started to hit a little bit of form and then boom, they're out again. Damn. That really just took like the whole winds out my sails. Like your girl is really struggling now. But let's get back into the player ratings because yeah. Odegaard, like I said, I didn't think it was a good Odegaard game. I thought it was like an okay Odegaard game. I think there's obviously nuances between horrendous and amazing. I think sometimes we don't really have that nuance. It's like, oh, well, if Odegaard's not a 10, he was a 0, right? He definitely wasn't a 0. Like I said, the times where it was like more contested at 1-1 and 2-2, I thought he lost too many duels in midfield. It's not really his vibe, but I thought, Jesus, like, you let Ross Barkley run you around like that. But once we started really pushing, his strong points really came to light. And so it's not, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't terrible either. I'll give him 6.5, kind of like one of those averagey type of performances, Clement says we definitely need to get a center back DM and a striker in January transfer window. We are not getting all 3 of those. We'd be lucky to get one. Diamande is the one to go get in the window. Striker options between Vlahovic, Tony, and Sesko. I don't think we scored 3 goals today, and we could have scored more. We don't have a goal scoring problem. Midfield is looking okay, right now. Our problem is defense. Like, it's so glaringly obvious now that the defense, you take Tomiyasu out and it's looking really crazy. And I wouldn't be surprised if some other players are holding on to some injuries, so sucks. Chosen One says 8 for Odie. I thought his second half was phenomenal. In my opinion, he got the winning assist. Fair enough. Derek says Odegaard was phenomenal for me. I'll probably go back and feel more like you guys, Michael says 7.5 for me. He says Odegaard 6.5. The curve on that cross for the winner was amazing. Nostradamus says 7. I mean, again, when you're having a poor performance or like not your best performance, what you can do is come up with some good GA when it really matters, Mesfin says that was a nice win. John P says Salah is celebrating that fab tweet. Ocampo says Saka can play left back at least. Probably like the worst possible time we could have gotten this type of news. Maybe it's Arteta playing mind games. That's like the only thing I could think of, because everybody was saying that he was going to be fine. Like, it was just like, it wasn't like a tear or anything like that. And then boom, now it's like not good news. Maybe Odegaard's playing mind games. Crispy says 6.5. Kurt says laugh out loud. He'll probably bring Partey back to play right back. Mo says Odegaard was a 6.5 out of 10. I think he struggled with the physical part of the game. Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think that's kind of where I sit as well. Like, when it was contested, he didn't do enough, for me. For me personally, I know I didn't put up the man of the match poll as I was rushing, but I think, Declan Rice will probably get a lot of man of the match shouts, but I think it was Kai Havertz from minute 1 to minute 96. He was really, really good. The performance that he put in, he was physical. He won his duels. He was on the second balls. He showed a little bit of flair. He wasn't afraid. I think that's like the main thing, is that he's starting to show a lot more of his creativity and his technical quality and things like that. And so he got the goal, which was to me a little bit like kind of similar to the one he scored against Lens, but it doesn't really matter what the goals look like. I think Kai's goals are going to mostly be like the one that we saw today, but you just need to start racking them up. What is that? 3 goals now and 1 assist now for Kai so far this season, maybe 4. I don't know. No, it's not 4. It's 3. Very, very good performance from him. And this is the thing, like, Odegaard didn't have that great of a performance, but Kai did. So, I think, again, sometimes it's like, oh, we're low on the entire team, but I don't want Kai's performance to go under the radar, because some people are like really upset about the way that the game went, if that makes sense. So I don't even know. I feel like I want to give him like an 8.5 or something like that. Like, maybe that's too low, but it was really good performance. I think some people will act like it didn't happen, but it did. Philippe says Kai was amazing. Andrew says Havertz getting better, 7.5. Nostradamus says my Kai, 7 out of 10. Cool Hand Luke says Cobra Kai, 8 with a kung fu kick to equalize. Richard says Kai, 9 out of 10. Arnolito says 8. Goal was winning mad headers. He was. Mesfin says Havertz is legit, 3 goals in 3 games. Only as the day says Odegaard man of the match. Whitey Morrison says the The team is okay. Arteta just has to work on Raya's attentiveness. He seems to get lost and complacent because Arsenal always dominate possessions. That's the problem that we had with Ramsdale. Get it together. 8 out of 10 from Nostradamus. The Arsenal perspective says Kai 8, happy he got the goal again. Gladys says King Kai was cooking. I agree. Leslie says Lee Gunner will be happy. You what says 7.5, not sold all the way yet, but I see improvement. And listen, you don't have to be sold on it right now. I think it's going to take a while for people to really come around. Like it's rare to, I think we've had some players come in and not be welcomed warmly by the fans, at least online. I think Kai Havertz and Raya, I've never seen two players be introduced to the team and the fans not warm to them like at all. Not that much. I think Raya had an upward battle. We know why that is. And Kai definitely was not somebody that was opened with open arms. Like he wasn't welcomed with open arms. It was very much like he was working on it at a deficit, like almost like in an overdraft. And so it might just take people getting back to zero and then building it up. But my only thing is, listen, when he has a good performance, it's okay to say so. I think sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to say it because that might mean that I'm wrong or whatever. I think the way that you said it right there is like, I'm not really fully convinced, but he was good today. And I think that's where analysis on players go down, is when people can't let go of their agenda. If a player played poorly, a player played poorly. But if you played well, despite your agenda, gotta say it, especially if they help you win a freaking game that you were sinking in. Hello. Philip says 515 GA bet in the bag. We're getting there. DS says Raya 6. P Trim says all a part of the journey. Nocturnal Gunner says big game player. He got the equalizer goal and got us back in it. Loved it. You already know my score. Yes, I do. Astro Dooley says Kai San gets an 8. So yeah, I really enjoyed his performance, and I don't want it to go under the radar because we're mad. This is what you spend 100 million pounds on. There was a lot of people after Chelsea won a game against Brighton that were putting all this, Enzo versus Rice. Let us know when you score a brace. Let me know when you do this. Rice is coming up big when it really matters for a team that's fighting for the title, not for a team that's sitting mid-table and getting a brace because he got a penalty and this kind of stuff. Like, he's actively like showing what 100 million pounds should look like. Defensively, he was good today. Thought he should maybe have done better on the second goal. But I thought for a very well-rounded performance from him, where he was trying to get us up the pitch, he was trying to dictate tempo a little bit, he was winning the ball back, he was doing all those things in a difficult environment, whatever, and then comes up with the goal at the last minute. This is the second goal second winner for him. And then he got a goal that got us back into the Chelsea game when we weren't playing well. And I think that's sometimes like the difference between a team that wins things and not, is not necessarily that you play perfect every single game, is that you have players that are like, actually, I don't feel like losing today, so we're just going to go ahead and get this last goal. And that's definitely what Declan Rice did today. So I have no more words for him. I just think, what else can you really say? I mean, he's just a fantastic player and worth the money. Again, the only 100 million pound signing that's actually, dictator or actually like justify the price tag. Astro Dooley says Rice 8.5. What a hero he's been so far this season. Social Join says, how you people not rate Caicedo? How did you people rate Caicedo over Rice? Pass me what you were smoking on. Omar Gunnar says Rice 11 out of 10 just for the goal alone. It's the moment as well. Like, it's the moment. It's the moment. It's the, you could have just given up. It's how many times have we watched Arsenal teams just freaking give up, that those things are important. Mentality is important. Philippe says Rice like a 7, but that goal 10 out of 10. Richard says 9 out of 10 for Rice. What a monster of a player. Ocampo says still has a lot to improve on. He has levels to get to, like Saliba, 7 out of 10. Richard says Rice 8 out of 10. You what says 9 with the goal, 9 without. Kind of agree with that. It wasn't like a barnstorming, but he was definitely like, again, he's always like a 9, 8, 9, and so the goal just sealed that for real. Ocampo says, what can Rice improve on? I mean, I think like his shooting, I think he's a good shot, but he, sometimes drags it. I think he has to relax. I think sometimes it's like he wants to score so badly that sometimes he like almost like overdoes it. He kind of has to get that Odegaard thing where Odegaard gets in that position and instead of snatching at it, he just gets the right contact with the ball. I think that's something that he can improve on. And I think knowing when to pass between the lines and knowing when to recycle possession, knowing when those moments are. I don't think he can't do it. I think that he hasn't really all the time. He doesn't always have the, okay, this is the time to speed it up. This is the time to slow it down, and that I think that takes time. So those are the things that he really, those are the only things, he's really, I mean, again, we're talking about a player that's kind of like already here and like, how can he just get like a bit better? You know what I mean? Malia says 3 points. Charlie says, laughing my ass off. No Thomas Partey Stockholm syndrome. I love this so much. Rice. Dale says, Rice 8 for the winner. Rice been so good. How often do you hear the 105? No, and Caicedo. No, we don't hear it. We don't. So let's get to our attackers now. I want to talk about Martinelli first because I think, he scores a goal, which is great because, I mean, his end product. I mean, I think the thing is like he kind of swapped his games a little bit. Like the game that he had against Wolves probably should have ended in some GA. The game that he played today probably needed a little bit more of what he was doing against Wolves, but he got the GA anyway. He, Martinelli his best qualities is really his endeavor and his like mentality and the way that he runs people down and stuff. And I can't help but feel like the injury, getting hit in the back kind of hurt him a little bit. You know what I mean? So he came off. And so it wasn't like his best game, but he did get a goal. You know what I mean? And so if I had, without the goal, I probably would give him like a 6.5. But with the goal, I'm going to give him a 7. Like he wasn't, it wasn't the best Martinelli game, but he got a goal. Like, so what can you say? Ocampo says our attack was brilliant today. Nelly gets an 8 out of 10. Today was not an attack problem. I thought some of the combinations, the way that we were playing, the finesse, all that kind of stuff, it was there. We were breaking them down pretty easily. Like it wasn't a type of game where we only had one chance. It was different. Our attack was going, it was doing, like Jesus was doing a lot of good work up there. Finding those channels, finding Saka out wide, it was more getting into the box. They got into the box and they put those chances away. Michael says Martinelli 7.5. I think it was a solid half, especially tracking back. Andrew says Martinelli 7. Nostradamus says Martinelli is so direct. It's great. Persistency pays off. Leslie Montgomery says Martinelli, they kicked the shit out of him. They were kicking him, Saka, and Jesus. A lot of them, they will have bruises. Trust. Arnolito says 7. Goal was playing out without attack support of a left back. Martin says only 7. That's harsh. Fair enough. I don't think, to me, it's not that harsh because I didn't think, maybe it's another one that I have to watch back, a 7 for me, but I don't think he was terrible. I thought it was okay. He was good. He was there, Social Join says Martinelli was smart in this game. He didn't go for sprints. He went in field. They were just there to kick him. Scummy play. They were really kicking the shit out of us. Tala says, can't wait for Partey to come back and play with Rice. A lot of injuries at the moment. Chadwick says, always wondered with the way that Tierney played against Barca in preseason, why on earth Arteta got rid of him. I mean, some people probably will be like, why, Tierney's not here, but I'll be honest with you. Do we actually think that Tierney would be available? And even if he did play, how many games would he be available for? He went straight to Sociedad and got injured for a month. So I'm not sure if this is like a should have kept Tierney moment. Some people will say it, but he's never really available either, is he? So it's kind of like you have him, but for how long, Begashaw says 8.5 out of 10. Let's see. Yeah. And Boy says KT would be injured. That's kind of what I think too. Only as the day says Martinelli 7.5. So yeah, like 7.5, 7, somewhere around there. He got a goal. Like that's the name of the game, isn't it? Jesus, another really good performance from him. I'm really glad he got the goal. It was a really nice goal. I thought he worked really hard. He was getting the shit kicked out of him the entire game. The referee did not seem like he was interested in giving Gabriel Jesus any of those calls. Not necessarily, I don't think it's because he didn't think that he was getting fouled. I think it was more just like, oh, you're Gabriel Jesus, you're gonna try to, boy who cried wolf, I'm not gonna give it to you, instead of actually like looking at the moments, because he was getting fouled a lot. Like, you can't just like kind of wrestle people to the ground. You can't just hold them down, you know what I mean? And he was getting a lot of that, but he still got a goal and an assist, I think. And he was like, from minute 1 to minute 90, 96, he was very dangerous for us. And did a lot of really good work. So, I think I'm going to give him probably like an 8.5 as well, like something around there. I think he's right up there with like the better performers today, which is great. Lucas says 8.5. Clement says Barella is a good shout to play alongside Rice. Only Today says, I just pray by January Arsenal sign a world-class striker and a defender. Keep praying, because I don't think it's going to happen. Michael says 8 for Jesus. That ref hated the man for some reason. I think they watch tapes of our players and decide that, we don't deserve the fouls when they're actually fouls, because we like the dark arts and sometimes we'll buy a foul here or there. So I do think we have some players that are probably on their bulletin board. We know Arteta's on their bulletin board, so they can't wait to give him cards and get him suspended and things like that. We know that I know like Jesus is probably up on the bulletin board as well. So yeah, I think some of our players are just not going to get the rub of the green sometimes because of the preconceived notion around them, kind of like the Xhaka effect, if that makes sense. I'll name this account later. Says Jesus gets an 8 for me. The Arsenal Perspective says Jesus 8. John Donut says Jesus 8.5. Nostradamus says that's why Gabriel didn't get the free kick against Joe Linton, as he goes down a lot. That's how I feel as well. Ricky, thank you so much for subscribing. Again, there's 300 of you guys in here, so make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. I would love to see you guys back if you're new. Richard says 8 for Jesus today. He put 200% all night. Andrew says Jesus 7.5. So I think we're all kind of like in the same neighborhood there. And so let's talk about Saka last but not least. I'll be so real with you guys. I thought he was fantastic from the first minute to the last. I thought he defensively winning duels, he was getting knocked down, winning fouls, progressing us up the pitch. Some of his touches were really great. He was constantly being kicked down. I thought he was really, really good today. I think he really was like, this is my 200th game and I'm leaving here with something. He got an assist, I believe. So yeah, Saka, what else can you really say? It was a normal Saka game. And I think he's starting to get back into the form that we remember, kind of like, in this period of last season. Everybody was saying that he was starting off slow, but listen, we're in for like a special season with Bukayo Saka. I think it's already started like a house on fire. So as long as he maintains his fitness, we're in a good place, with him. So I'm also going to give him an 8.5, 9 out of 10. Omar says Saka 7 at 7.7. Yeah, 200 games is crazy, says Arnolito. Ocampo says 8 out of 10, very consistent. We're getting some really consistent performances from Saka and Declan Rice. If we could just get a couple more players to start building up that level of consistency. We've lost a little bit of that from Saliba, but start building that consistency with the performances. But yeah, what says Saka 8.5 only because the standards are so high. I'll name this account later. Says this was Saka's best overall game this season. Constant threat, put pressure on Luton's defense constantly. 8.5 for me. I agree. Ify says despite being doubled up, he kept going. Yeah. Clement says she continues to do Arsenal content from live streams, player ratings, etc. Yeah, you guys you guys know the deal on the channel. I don't know if I don't want to jinx it, but for Patreon, Diluted is going to be on that show for the Friday show. So we'll be talking about all this kind of stuff. But if you're not a patron, which is fine, I love you to have you guys here on YouTube. And so tomorrow is just going to be like a usual day where we put out some content, morning show, blah, blah, blah. But every single day you pretty much get something from me on this channel, whether it's live or pre-recorded. And then on Patreon, we do at least 2 pieces of content a week. So yeah, there's that. Ashley Dooley says Saka 8. And the Arsenal Perspective says Saka 8.8. So yeah, he was really good. In terms of the subs, I think we could just kind of like talk about them for a second. I thought Zinchenko made a difference when he came on, but I'm not surprised that he did, because in the moments that he kind of came on, we were trying to push for a goal. We were trying to push for a winner, an equalizer winner, whatever, So I thought Zinchenko did a good job. Like, we looked a lot more dominant once Zinchenko came on, obviously, because then you get another midfielder and they start dropping deeper and deeper. Trossard, not his best cameo, but I don't think he was as bad as some people are making him out to seem. Who else came on? Was that it? Yeah, because no Eddie. Eddie didn't come on. Who else was there? I think that was it. So yeah, you guys can rate Trossard and Zinchenko if you want. I'd probably give Zinchenko like a 7.5 and Trossard like a 6, something like that. But listen, we're top of the league. We've seen that these games can happen. All of our contemporaries go through games like this. We're 4 games unbeaten right now, top of the Champions League group, going into the weekend, all that kind of stuff. So all is not lost, but yeah, we're going back into the injury cycle again. We have about 1 or 2 games where we feel like the team is looking healthy again, and then boom, we get another injury there. So really, really unfortunate, the Tomiyasu news, I think. Unless Arteta is pulling the wool over our eyes and trying to play a little bit of mind games, this is a huge, huge blow. And Arsenal do probably need to go into the January window and get a defender, because we are 1 injury away from Declan Rice playing center back. Okay. But it's not the end of the world. I know that this game will leave a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. I'm still trying to get over the individual errors that were there. Arsenal cannot be top of the charts for individual errors, or goals leading to an error, or errors leading to goal. That's what I mean. Errors leading to goal. We're top of that table again. And last season we said that we wanted to nip those out. It felt like in the first couple of games that we were making mistakes. Then we kind of got away from that. Now we're back again. So that definitely needs to be looked at. But that being said, we've got a little bit of a buffer here, 4 points clear. So we'll see what happens with Manchester City and Liverpool and stuff like that. But Aston Villa, big game at the weekend. I'm feeling confident about our attack, because our attack looked really good today. But people are going to be gunning for Raya after what they saw today. And so that's what's worrying me now. And not having Tomiyasu also puts us at a disadvantage. So I love you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this show. Like this video and subscribe to the channel. I will be on the Arsenal Forever podcast, I think, tomorrow too. So if you guys have been enjoying that, I think I might be on it. I'll let you guys know. But yeah, tune in tomorrow to whatever little bit of content I put out there. And patrons, you guys will get something on Friday as well with me and Diluted. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.